Hello, I'm Dawn Priolat, and in this video what I want to do some tapping with you about is jealousy, or the fear of being abandoned and rejected. And you know, this fear really can come from way back in childhood, when one of your parents, maybe your mom, dad, even a step-parent, or maybe all three of them, rejected and abandoned you, or at least you felt that that's what happened. And if that's what you felt is what happened, then that is your reality, that's your experience. And so we want to honor that. And so what happens is, those kind of experiences that happen in early childhood, we tend to repeat them over and over again. In our adult lives, in our relationships in particular. So, if you're having some issues with feeling very insecure when your partner is talking to someone else or having a good time with someone else, and you find yourself feeling jealous and insecure and really basically being afraid that, you know, is he going to sleep with her? You know, is he going to leave me for her? Just think about how that's really affecting your relationships. Number one, if you're not in a relationship, that may very well be the reason why. Because if there's this underlying fear going on all the time that, you know, you're going to be hurt and rejected, and men always cheat. If that's going on in your subconscious mind all the time, because that's what's happening, if that's your belief, more than likely you're not going to allow yourself to get involved in the first place. Or if you do get involved, there's always going to be this thing in the back of your mind, like, well, what's the point? You know, he's going to just end up leaving me for someone else. You know, eventually he's going to get bored with me, he's going to find someone better than me, and then he's going to end up sleeping with her. And, you know, so in other words, you're not going to allow yourself to really get too close to this person. And you may even do some things to really sabotage the relationship, to kind of say, well, you know what, I am going to hurt him before he hurts me. Or you'll end up, at the slightest provocation, you'll end up breaking up with him just out of the fear of having to go through that. Because that's an awful feeling. If you've ever had to go through that, if you've ever, you know, walked in on an ex-boyfriend with someone else and had that kind of thing happen to you, or, you know, you've been left for, and it's usually for someone else. That's the worst part of it. You know, it's not so bad. It wouldn't be so bad if you got left and abandoned, except that he left you for somebody who is, and maybe in your eyes you think she's prettier, or she's younger, or she's something. Some way, you know, she must be better than me because he left me because of her. So that's going to affect all of your relationships, and it may keep you out of relationships. And in any case, you're always going to have that in the back of your mind. So what I'd like to do is have you go through a round of EFT tapping with me. But first, what we're going to do is I'd like to have you close your eyes, because I want you to have, just imagine that your subconscious mind could paint you a picture. And I want you to just imagine that your partner is there, and they might be in a club somewhere that maybe you and him go from time to time. Could be a coffee shop, a club, somewhere out in a public place, or maybe at a friend's house at a party or something like that. And see him having a wonderful conversation with a very attractive woman. And this woman might even be somebody that you already know, that you already have some fears about, that something might happen between them. And just see them together, talking, having a good time. They're smiling, they're laughing, they're looking at each other. Maybe she's kind of touching him on the arm. Maybe they're hugging. And I want you to notice how you're feeling. What feelings are coming up for you? Is it anger? Is it sadness? Is it rage? Is it... And also notice the body sensations. Is your heart pounding fast? Are you feeling like it's hard for you to breathe? You feeling like your chest is contracting? Are you feeling like you're wanting to cry and run out of the room? Do you feel like you want to run over and rip her eyes out? You know, what is it that's going on inside of you? And notice that your partner, by the way, seems to be pretty oblivious to you. It's almost like he doesn't even know that you exist. And he's just having such a good time with this woman. So just allow all the physical sensations to come up in your body, all the thoughts, and just notice them. And then I want you to, when you're ready, open your eyes. And we're going to focus on that scene and all the feelings that came up. And you can actually tap through any of the points on this one, just remembering that scene while you still have it fresh in your mind. So tap on any of the points. There they are. Oh my God. I can't believe. It's like he doesn't even know I exist. He's having such a good time talking to her. They're laughing. They're looking in each other's eyes. And I feel like I totally don't even exist. It's like they're ignoring me. They don't even know I exist. They don't even care. And I feel terrified. I feel he's going to leave me. I know he's going to do something with this woman. He's going to sleep with her. I know he will. I mean, he's acting with her the same way he used to act when we first met. And I just know that something's going to happen. Oh my God, she's touching his arm. Oh my God, the way that he's looking at her. I just know something's going to happen between them. And I am just feeling, I can feel my body is shaking. I feel like I want to cry. I feel like I want to run out of the room. But I can't. Because I've got to know what's going to happen. Oh my God. Part of me wants to run over there and grab him and say, what the hell are you doing? You can't do this. Part of me wants to go over and rip her eyes out. I feel so insecure right now. I feel so triggered. And I'm so afraid that my relationship is going to come to an end because of this. Oh, hell. Why did I even get involved in the first place? I knew that this would happen. I knew that eventually the shoe was going to drop. The other shoe was going to drop, and he's going to leave me, just like they always do. Because it happens every time. Everything goes good in the beginning. We're so in love. We're so much into each other. And then in the end, he ends up meeting somebody else who's prettier than me or younger than me or something more than me. And then he ends up dropping me like I'm just nothing. Just like what's happening right now. They don't even know I exist. I'm over here ready to cry, and he doesn't even know that I exist. I am so triggered right now. All this anxiety. all this anxiety, thinking that he's going to leave me. And who the hell does she think she is? I want to go rip her eyes out, right out of her face. She wouldn't look so pretty then now, would she? All this jealousy, all this anxiety that I'm going to be abandoned again. I'm going to be rejected. I'm going to be abandoned. He's going to throw me aside like I'm just an old toy. I just can't trust men. They always do this. They're so shallow. Just any pretty thing comes along and they'll just leave you like you're nothing. Like you just never meant anything to them. How could I be so stupid? Why did I let myself get so involved with him? I just can't stand this feeling. I hate this feeling. I feel so scared, so anxious that I'm going to be left once again. Okay, just take a deep breath. And now, I want you to take another look at that scene. And see if you can even see the scene now. And if you can, does it still trigger you the way it did before? Or has it calmed down a little bit? And has anything changed in that scene? Maybe you're just feeling a little more calm about it. Maybe you've noticed that he's kind of turned and looked at you. Maybe he even walked away from her. But just see what happened in that scene. And now I want to do a positive round with you because once, and you may not be ready for this round yet, but if not, you can go back and tap through the first round again if you've got some more stuff coming up. But once you can get the intensity down to, let's say, like a 2 or a 3, you can be ready to do this next positive round with me. Because I want to bring in some positive thoughts on this. Because the ideal thing is that we want to get to a place where you really, really get it in your heart that regardless of what happens with this particular partner, that you know inside that you are loved and you are worthy. Because see, that's the thing that's really missing here. The thing that's really missing here is that you think that this one person is the one person that you need to validate you, to validate your right to exist, to make you feel important, to make you feel loved. And where this leads back to childhood is that when you were a little child, say 3, 4 years old, or whatever age it was, if you felt abandoned and rejected by your parents, the truth of the matter is it was a life or death situation, because to a little child, being abandoned by his or her parents is a life or death situation. And what's happening is when we grow up as adults and we get involved in romantic relationships, we're still playing out the same unresolved stuff that we had with our parents. And so this is why it feels like such a life or death situation. It's almost like there's a part of you that feels like you're going to die if he leaves you, right? There's that part of you that feels so desperate and so anxious. It's almost like it's going to be the end of the world if he leaves you. And so what happens is he's talking to this woman, and because you already have this anxiety, this unresolved abandonment stuff with your parents, your mind will come up with all kinds of stuff that may not even be happening. You'll take one look and you'll misconstrue it. You'll make it, and you'll have it painting you exactly the exact picture of what you fear. Because that's what's going on in your subconscious mind. So let's do a positive round on this and see if we can get a different perspective. So, this time we're going to start on the karate chop point. Even though I have all these fears about being abandoned, about being rejected, I just choose to honor the sadness and the fear of that little girl that was me, who really felt like being abandoned was the end of the world because she could die. Even though I have all these fears of being abandoned by him, because I've made him my whole world. My whole validation is dependent on him. My whole worth as a human being is dependent on whether he leaves or he stays. I have made him my entire world, just like I did with Mom and Dad. But see, that made sense because Mom and Dad were my whole world, and I literally was dependent on them for my survival. But right now, I'm a big girl, and I'm not dependent on this man for my survival. And I choose to love and accept myself, and I choose to honor the fear and the sadness and the anxiety that are still trapped in my energy system from when I was a little girl, when it really made sense to feel all this anxiety about being abandoned, because it really was a matter of survival. Even though I have all these fears about being left, about being abandoned and rejected and thrown aside like an old toy, I choose to know that my self-worth, my value as a person, is not dependent on what some man thinks about me, on whether some man values me or not. I choose to value myself. So now let's tap through the points. All this fear of being rejected. All this fear of being abandoned. It's happened to me before. I'm pretty sure it's going to happen again. In fact, I may have to do something before it does happen. I may have to do something to prevent it. Maybe I need to just break up with this guy before he leaves me. I'll leave him first. Maybe that's what I need to do. I hate being abandoned. I'd rather just start a fight and get it over with. If that's what's going to happen, I might as well just go. I might as well just leave now because it's going to happen anyway. And I am so tired of being hurt like that. I don't think I can go through that again. All this fear of being hurt, all this fear of being rejected, all this fear that he's going to leave me for somebody prettier than me, somebody younger than me, somebody better than me in some way, shape, or form. All this fear. I wonder if it's possible that whatever he does or doesn't do has nothing to do with me. I wonder if it's possible that my self-worth and my value have absolutely nothing to do with the choices that he makes. I wonder if it's possible for me to really be able to get it in my heart that, this fear about, is he going to sleep with her? Well, if he does sleep with her, then obviously he's not the right guy for me. I wonder if I could really get that in my heart. That whatever he does, it's really okay. And I'm going to be okay. Because my self-worth is not based on anyone's good opinion of me. My self-worth is not based on whether he stays or he leaves. I do honor the pain and the suffering and the sadness of that little girl who was so terrified that she was going to be abandoned. So terrified that she didn't know what was going to happen to her because her own parents were turning their backs on her. Her own parents ignored her. I totally honor how sad and how terrified she was. And I choose to know, and I choose to really get it. That I'm all grown up now, and that's not what's happening here. He can leave, he can stay, and I'm going to be fine. Because the one that I'm really supposed to be with, the one who's really meant for me, is going to be with me. He's going to want to be with me. If he's the one I'm meant to be with, then he will want to be with me. And he's not going to leave me for the first good-looking woman who happens to come along. That's not going to happen. So I choose to just be strong within myself and strong within my center. And just know that if he chooses to be with somebody else, then let him go. Because that just means that there is somebody out there who is more appropriate for me. Because the guy who's meant to be with me is not going to leave. He's certainly not going to leave just because somebody comes along who looks cute. And who may have a nice laugh and a nice body or whatever. That is not going to make the right man leave. I choose to be completely calm and completely confident within myself. And really feeling and knowing my own value. I choose to be love. What would I do if I were just being a total space of love? Would I want to rip her eyes out just because they're having a good time, that they're having a nice conversation? Is that what love would do? I choose to relax, take a few deep breaths, and I choose to know that if this man is the one I'm supposed to be with, he's not going anywhere. So, if he does leave to be with this other woman, then I welcome that, and I welcome the fact, the knowing that there is somebody better who is going to come into my life. Because the universe loves a vacuum. I choose to feel secure within myself. I choose to heal the inner child within me, the one who felt abandoned, the one who felt really terrified, that maybe she would starve to death because nobody was going to take care of her. I honor that part of me. I honor that part of me that really feels that this is about survival. And I choose to calm down, take a deep breath, and be in the present moment. And just be love. Because that's what I am. And take a deep breath. And so it's really important to really work with the inner child, because that's where all this stuff is coming from. All these little insecurities and all these scenarios that you keep attracting and creating and recreating over and over again, the reason you're doing it is because it's like your subconscious mind is telling you this is what needs to be healed. And until you do, you're going to keep attracting, maybe the same kind of men who are going to do things to kind of trigger this kind of jealousy. But really, until you no longer feel it, you're going to keep attracting more of it. Because it's like you've got this jealousy button. As long as you've got that button, it's got to be pushed so that you can heal this. And not only that, another thing I want to add here is that if you get really wildly crazy jealous, anytime your boyfriend or husband or whatever the case is, anytime he talks to another woman or looks at another woman, if you get crazy jealous like that, you're actually encouraging him in that behavior unknowingly, because you're giving him all kinds of attention. Now, it may be negative attention, but you know what? He's going to love that attention, and he's going to keep doing it over and over again. So the best thing that you could do is do what you need to do so that you stop getting triggered by this. So that, he can talk to somebody, he can have a good time with another woman, within reason, of course, and it's not going to trigger you just because he's talking to another woman. So, I hope you tap through this video as many times as you need to, and please leave me your comments. So I'll see you in the next video.